All right, Shalom, Yasharala, Shalom, giving all praises, honor, and glory to our power, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Rachah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the hopeful elect of the tabernacles of David, back through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, with another various articles. I don't know if I saw articles, yesterday evening. So I don't know if I'll be able to go back and pick the ones up that I wanted to grab. But this one is definitely new, so we're going to grab it. All right, so we're going to start right here. It says, top Archbishop Wef plotting global coup to enforce Great Reset. All right, tell us something we don't know. And look at that face on the screen. Tell us something we don't know. One of the most powerful figures in the Catholic Church has raised the alarm by warning the public that the World Economic Forum and its founder Klaus Schwab are plotting a global coup d'etat in order to usher in their Great Reset agenda. And we know that, all right? It's on the horizon. Brothers all over this earth have been talking about it, all right? Something major is about to happen, okay, within this earth that's about to shift the atmosphere, okay? It says Archbishop Carlo Maria Vigano is a bishop of the Catholic Church who served as the apostolic nuncio to the United States from 2011 to 2016. He previously served as a Secretary General of the Governorate of Vatican City State from 2009 to 2011. He is best known for having exposed two major Vatican scandals. Now, he warning that I'm pretty sure that's a misprint. Anyways, now he warning that Schwab and the WEF are threatening world leaders into complying with their globalist agenda. And that's the thing. They're not, I mean, you can use the words threatening, because maybe to some levels, to some extent, but ultimately, these elites are in control anyways. Job 9:24, the earth has been given into the hands of the wicked. Who are the wicked? Esau Edom. Who's Esau Edom? That's the so-called white man. That rulership stems back to the international banking families. All right, but one way or another, there's a reason why it's called a global reset, not an American reset, not a European reset, not an Australian reset. No, a global reset, because they want to reset the world and put it. They want it basically. It's like they're trying to. Start back at Genesis chapter 1, but underneath them. All right, fashion the world after them, reshape the world after them, which is a technocratic way. All right, a digital world. Okay, so it says the WEF's plot will see citizens around the world stripped of their freedoms, correct, privacy, double correct, and all possessions for the common good. Well, they said it. You will own nothing and you will be happy. Triple correct. All right. Perhaps we should listen to him. This man is one of the, no, perhaps you should listen to the prophets, beginning with our apostles and our elders of Great Millstone. Try that one. Okay. Perhaps we should listen to him. This man is one of the few good guys out there in the Catholic Church and just in general, whatever. And he's been shouting from the rooftops a massive warning, as have we. No, everyone's been listening to the prophets, once again, beginning with our apostles and our elders, a Great Millstone, all right? And it doesn't matter how anyone feels about that, because that's just the facts. He says Vigano has previously raised the alarm about the WEF's Great Reset agenda. Last year, he posted, who the hell wrote this one? Somebody was needed some coffee writing this one. Last year, he posted maybe it's supposed to say the long thread or a long, I don't know, thread on Twitter where he details Schwab's plans. At the G20 Bali Summit, Klaus Schwab instructed heads of government, almost all coming from the Young Global Leaders for Tomorrow program of the World Economic Forum, about the future steps to be taken in view of establishing a world government. Archbishop Carlo Maria Vigano, this fact is of unprecedented gravity, Klaus Schwab said. In the fourth industrial revolution, just another name for the same thing we were just talking about, global reset, great reset, NWO, fourth industrial revolution. All right, it's all the same thing. Okay, in the fourth industrial revolution, the winners will take it all. So if you are a World Economic Forum first mover, you are the winners. That's false. All right, the true winner is going to be Yahushua. That's what they're not telling you, because it's in their inward parts is that their houses shall continue forever. They think by completing their digital currency system and by completing the implementation of the microchip, that they've won, and that's false. All right, because the scriptures talk about when they're about to fill their belly. Right? Hey, Yahushua is about to come and spoil these devils. All right, all these nations really. Okay, the ultimate winner is Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. This is just as far as their eyes can see. All right. So it says, and that's according to the scriptures. All right. It says the second is that those who do not adapt to this fourth industrial revolution will find themselves ousted and will lose. Yeah, they've talked about this multiple times. All right. If you don't take the microchip, all right, you're going to be left out of society. All right. And also there was talks. That was the other thing. Man, what was it? Yeah, because they talked about, I forget exactly what it was right now off bat, but basically they've been showing you this on smaller levels, right? Stores where you have to have your hand scanned to enter into. There's no security. You just pick up whatever you want and then you leave out, okay? And everything is done digitally, all right? Grocery shopping cart baskets, right? With the thing on it, where you put things into your cart and it's automatically scanned and you just roll out. And it's all done digitally. And that's all a part of their RFID microchip technology system. Okay. So it says the second is that those who do not adapt to this fourth industrial revolution will find themselves out. Oh yeah, that's what it was. The Wadi Habashmashah. Yeah, because they were talking about the undesirables, all right, of society. What do you think they're going to do with these people? They're not just going to send them to West Bumba F, just leave them there. No. All right. Revelation 24. Is one of those results that may happen, all right? And if you don't know what that is, go and read it, okay? Revelation 20, chapter 20, verse 4. It says they will lose everything, including their freedom. Absolutely, because if you take this man's device, he will have full autonomy over every aspect of your life from a remote location. All right, Archbishop Carlo Maria. Okay, so number 7, yep. It says this goes far beyond the pandemic. It is a global coup d'etat against which it is essential that people rise up and that the still healthy organs of states start an international judicial process. The threat is imminent and serious since the World Economic Forum is capable of carrying out its subversive project, and those who govern nations have all become either enslaved or blackmailed by this international mafia. But why do they have the power to do these things? It's because the Lord is controlling everything, even on the left-hand side. Okay? It says we should probably listen to him before it's too late. Whatever. Vegano claims are not wrong, however, and can easily be verified. See, this is the thing. People are popping up all over this earth and just saying, I got some information here. But where did you get it? No one's talking about the source of their information. When our apostles have been doing this for umpteen years, but no one's talking about the source. People, and this is just a portion of self-pleasure as well as recognition or wanting to be heard and seen, all right? Because it'll be people who listen to the apostles and the elders, all right, and other brothers, around the earth, who are teaching sound doctrine, that is, all right? And then they'll come and they'll create some podcast or a YouTube channel or whatever and get thousands of followers and act like they came up with the shit on their own. And they didn't. It's the prophets all over the earth. This gospel shall be preached unto the four corners of the earth as a witness, and then the end shall come. And the end is here because the Lord has revealed his secrets to his servants, the prophets. Okay? It says Schwab openly gloats about having penetrating the cabinets of most world governments. He claims to have installed WEF operatives in the upper echelons of governments to do his bidding. In a video from 2017, Schwab is seen bragging proudly on camera about how he penetrates the cabinets of most major world governments. And I would not doubt that at all right? Because the international banking families are calling the shots all over this earth, one way or another. He goes on to name drop some of the world's leaders he has placed in power. Those names include Merkel in Germany, Putin in Russia. You see? All right? This is something we talked about before. If I'm your enemy, we're not coming together at a United Nations Council or whatever, right? To talk about anything unless we're having peace talks. But these people will come to, and it leads you right to Psalms, the 83rd chapter, right? Where they said at council against you Israelites, all of these nations, every last one of them on the earth has said at council against you Israelites, because you are the only one who are not there at their world meetings. right? Don't get fooled by Israel or Israeli, whatever. That's not you. Those are Edomites, okay? Amalekites. The actual Israelites of the 12 tribes of Israel are not at these council meetings. But all these different nations, who some of them, someone hates someone, all right? But they're able to sit down at a council and agree on things, agree on terms, whatever, man. If I'm your enemy, it's on site, man. But that's like I said. So if we're not coming together to talk about peace talks and quelling our little conflict, then we don't need to be meeting. But this is what these people are doing. They're meeting together all in one room, and I'm not trying to take your head off your shoulder. You see, it's all a game. All right. So he goes on to name drop some of the world leaders he has placed in power. Those names include Merkel of Germany, Putin of Russia, Trudeau of Canada, Argentina's president, and Macron of France. And this is Schlabby Schwab here. He says over half of Trudeau's cabinet has been captured by the World Economic Forum, Schwab's unelected elite group he uses to control the world. He then confirmed that and this goes to show you that, our apostles have always been correct when they talk about how, these presidents or whoever, whatever different name they have from are just puppets, man. They're just puppets. All right. It's just the person to look to. And then if you don't, someone doesn't like it, and then they complain against, we just use Biden because he's the president right now. They complain against Biden, but Biden's a nobody. Biden's a puppet. Okay. It says he then confirmed that not only does he control the presidents of Argentina and France, but he says he controls over half their cabinets as well. And we're going to get this video because I thought that was going to be in there. So we're going to bounce back up and grab the other video as well. Let's just go and grab this real quick because I believe that's the end of the article. Yep. It says, here's more. Ideology of at WEF is a direct threat to American way of life. Not enough conservatives calling it out by name yet. Here is a pro Klaus Schwab bragging about his infiltrating Western. So we're not going to click on that link. Excuse me. All right, so let's watch this video. Oh, wait. Let me, because I got my Bluetooth on. Let me, turn this off because I never know if it's going to hear it or not. All right, let's roll.
And I have to say, when I mention our names like Mrs. Merkel, even Vladimir Putin and so on, they all have been young global leaders of the World Economic Forum. But what we are very proud of now, the young generation, like Prime Minister Trudeau, President of Argentina and so on, that we penetrate the cabinets. So yesterday I was at a reception for Prime Minister Trudeau, and I know that half of this cabinet, or even more, half of this cabinet, are actually young global leaders of the World Economic Forum.
And that's true in Argentina too. Wow.
Yeah.
Sorry. That's true in Argentina as well.
It's true in Argentina, and it's true in France now. I mean, with the president, with a young global leader. But what is important for me?
Okay.
Do you wake up tired? Are your kids tired too? Do you feel like you need a nap even though you slept 8 hours?
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, the inventor of MyPillow. Like you, I used to wake up more tired than when I went to bed.
Made in my life, we just use the promo code on plus very uncomfortable. MyPillow comes
serious, man. It's just, well, they cut that one off. Just drop the commercial, just drop a bomb on us and roll out. All right, so let's just roll up and get this other video. See what else this dude is talking about.
The weather's getting colder outside, and you could keep doing the same old thing of putting on 17 layers just to be comfortable, or you could buy...
Those who do not adapt to this fourth industrial revolution will find themselves ousted and will lose. They will lose everything, including their freedom. In short, Klaus Schwab is threatening the head of government of the 20 most industrialized nations in the world to carry out the programmatic points of the Great Reset in their nation. This goes far beyond the pandemic. It is a global coup d'etat against which it is essential that people rise up and that the still healthy organ of state start an international juridical process. The threat is imminent and serious. Since the World Economic Forum is capable of carrying out its subversive project, and those who govern nations have all become either enslaved or blackmailed by this international mafia. In the light of these statements, and those of others no less delusional than Yuval Noah Harari, Schwab's advisor, we understand how the pandemic first served as a trial balloon for imposing controls, coercive measures, curtailing individual freedoms, and increasing unemployment and poverty. The new step will have to be carried out by means of economic and energy crisis, which are instrumental to the establishment of a synarchic government in the hands of the global elite.
And he basically just spoke on the whole Great Reset in a nutshell. All right. And you notice how he threw in there at the end, energy crisis. All right. Because it's always some false narrative that they push forward, and then they throw on crisis at the end to make it seem like it's so real and it's such a threat. All right. It's not an energy crisis. It's just things that you're trying to crack down on. All right. And that has a range of different ideas that they've thrown out there. All right. When it comes to these crises. All right. And calling it, it's hurting the people or it's hurting the earth or whatever. And it's all tomfoolery. All right. You know the other word. Okay. That's all it is, man. And it's all a part of their agenda. It's all part of the steps. Okay. It's like they see I don't know. It's like they see a throne at the top of the hill, like they see Mount Olympus or something. All right. And they're fighting to get on Mount Olympus. And every one of these little steps that they take are different agendas that have to be rolled out. And those steps help them to get to their ultimate plan, which is the microchip, because that forwards the Great Reset and gives them that control over this earth that they're looking for. But once again, as soon as they pull off these agendas, the Lord is going to come swoop in. All right. As the scriptures say, wherever the carcass are, there will the eagles be gathered together, or something like that, roughly paraphrasing. All right. And the Lord is only looking for his elect. So you will pull off your plan because the Lord is going to allow you to. All right. To just like, and we're going to do a little mini series right now. Like the Lord did in Egypt. He had a purpose for everything that he was doing in Egypt. And at the end, it was to what? It's to show his mighty power and that everyone should fear him as well as know his name. All right. The Lord always has a purpose in all the things that he does. All right. So let's go and roll on, because we got a few articles here. So if we can find them all, we'll get to them. All right. So it's the top Archbishop Wef plotting global coup to enforce Great Reset. All right. Moving on. All right, I wasn't going to skip over this one, but I'm going to grab it because there's a video attached. So it says, Putin denies Biden's claim that Russia plans to attack NATO, calls it complete nonsense. All right, and we're probably just going to let this video play, but we'll grab a little bit from the top so we can get some little context here. It says, Russian President Vladimir Putin has denied claims by President Joe Biden that he plans to attack members of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, which is NATO. In a recent plea to Republicans to support additional military aid, Biden suggested that if Putin succeeded in Ukraine, he would continue by attacking a NATO nation. Putin countered. He says Biden suggested that if Putin succeeded in Ukraine, he would continue by attacking a NATO nation. Putin countered by alleging that Biden is only fabricating scenarios in his head to secure approval for increased military aid to Ukraine amid the ongoing Russian special military operation in the country. But here's the thing. You've already diverted your attention to backing the Israelis, all right? And you can't fund them both in the manner that you want to. So they're going to have to choose who you're going to fund, all right? Or you're going to go back and forth. What's it going to be? Django, what's it gonna be, Doc? What's it gonna be? It says, He added that Russia has no intention of confronting the NATO military alliance. Did I get all that? Let me see, make sure. Putin countered by alleging, yep, I got all that. All right, so it says Putin dismissed Biden's assertions as complete nonsense in an interview published by a state television station on Sunday, December 17. He suggested that Biden is attempting to justify his own mistaken policy on Russia. According to Putin, Russia lacks any geopolitical, economic, political, or military interest in fighting NATO countries, which is all false. Everybody's going to be in World War III. It doesn't matter what they say. It matters what the Lord is doing, right? And he says that right in the scriptures. It is my determination to gather the nations, is Joel chapter 3, all right? And he told us in Zephaniah 3 to wait for him to the day that he rises up to those very same prey, which are these heathen nations. It is complete nonsense, and I think President Biden understands that. Putin said Russia has no reason, no interest to fight with NATO countries. All right, we'll see. It says Putin may put peace off the table until after the U.S. presidential election. All right, so let's go down here and get this video here.
He says they just moved 2 aviation strike groups into the Mediterranean Sea. I want to say, this is not a threat, what I'm going to say now. And what I will inform you about, but on my behalf, the Russian Air Force, Russian Space Forces, are starting on an ongoing basis patrols.
Let me pause real quick. You notice I said Russian Space Force. Why does everybody have a Space Force? Answer me that. Riddle me this. Why has everybody got a Space Force? Because they all know Yahweh Shah's on the way with them angels, man. They know. They don't know when, but they know he's on the way. And they're so stupid they think they're going to fight against them, all right? And the scriptures talk about this. 2 Kings, the 13th chapter. Everyone's going to leave the battle that they're fighting and turn their attention against Yahweh Shah. And that's when they're going to get decimated. Why has everybody got a Space Force, man? The answer is clear.
In the neutral zone of the airspace in the Black Sea. And our planes with MiG-31 armed with Kinzhal missiles are known to have a range of over 1,000 kilometers at Mach 9 speed. All I have to say is thank God for Elon Musk. Thank God for attempt, this peace drive, this anti-war protest, attempting to bring truth to the perception of the American people in a desperate attempt to ward off a third world war. Now that's looking increasingly unlikely, and everybody gets this, right? Everybody understands this. This isn't confusing to anybody. U.S. response to Israel-Hamas war draws fury in the Middle East. The U.S. has now had to issue a do-not-travel advisory for Lebanon, and they're allowing non-emergency personnel to leave after pro-Palestine protesters start a fire at the Beirut embassy, forcing security to use tear gas to disperse the crowd. Again, out of anger of what we have allowed Israel to do. So it's putting our embassy at risk, our ambassadors at risk, our non-military personnel at risk. It's also putting our military personnel at risk. As Newsmax reports, U.S. thwarts drone attack on its troops in Iraq. The U.S. military thwarted an attack targeting its forces in Iraq early Wednesday, intercepting 2 drones before they could strike, 2 U.S. officials told Reuters. So we're already in the realm of how many Americans are going to die so that Israel doesn't have to look bad to its neighbors. Said it yesterday, I'll say it a million times. They could stop right now. This could all be over right now. It's entirely up to Israel whether this continues or whether this stops. Entirely up to them. Every choice they make is what moves this forward. There's a story from InfoWars, over 4,000.
Let me pause real quick because I just thought, when he showed that little clip or whatever, it says sending over 4,000 troops, right? So here's the thing with America, which is not nothing known, but maybe someone hasn't heard it, right? America is having problems fulfilling their ranks, okay? They have men, they have women, and they have gays in their ranks, and they're also having trouble fulfilling their ranks. So as things worsen, okay, over time, increments of time, as things get worse, they're going to be forced to have a draft. And the scriptures speak about it anyways, because it says how men are going to die at war, so on and so forth. Those that get shipped off to these different wars, or World War III, however you want to put it, whatever, wherever they're getting shipped to, the majority of them are not coming home. Maybe some get the chance to come home right now. I highly doubt it. If they get deployed right now, they may not get a chance to come back to the shores where they left, okay? But the point being, at some point, because they lack the numbers, they're going to have to push forward a draft. That draft is going to happen. They're not just talking about it for no reason. The draft is going to happen. And a lot of these people out here, these men, these women, all right, who are very boastful, and they're these same ones who are they're gonna be sent to the war. All right, some of these ninjas need to get sent to the war. All right, because you hate to say it, but the facts are the facts, man. Because it'll be people who will come against folk of their own neighborhood, but then when it comes to the police or whatever, or now they're ready to run. Now they don't want to get handcuffs put on. But if you're so bold to stand up against your own people in your own neighborhood who live in the same terrible life you're living, what's so different about the man with the cuffs? Is it because he has a badge? It's because he can take you to jail. All right. So and these be the people running around, talking about, they thugs, they're this, they're that, or whatever. All right. Well, let's see how gangster you are when they put a gun in your hand and slap a helmet in your head and throw you in a chopper and roll you across seas. There's going to be a lot of people who are just like that, who are not going to want to do that. And you're going to see that these people ain't as hard as they thought. All right. Because it's easy to come up against somebody when you have power over them. And I don't mean power like control or whatever. I mean when you're stronger in might, or whatever the case may be. It's easy to come up against someone when you have power over them. But let's see how it is when the playing field is level, or when it's uneven and you're at the lower end. But a lot of people are going to find out, men and women alike, whether you have families or not, you will be drafted into World War III. Some of you. All right, let's finish. Let's go through this video some more. See what else he's talking about.
Sailors and Marines being sent towards Israel from the Washington Post. What do you think is going to happen when 4,000 Marines die? The rhetoric in America gets ramped up, and suddenly it's American people demanding retribution for killing our soldiers. Why don't we just not let them get killed by not backing the genocidal maniacs in Israel? That's my idea. It's a radical one, I guess. But where this gets really disturbing are these two facts. First, UN sanctions on Iran's ballistic missile and drone program have just expired yesterday. What are the odds? UN sanctions on Iran's ballistic missile and drone program have just expired. Iran can now legally buy an ICBM, that's intercontinental ballistic missile, from China, or sell missiles and drones to Hamas, Hezbollah, and Russia. Russia has already said it need no longer obey UN Security Council restrictions on giving missile technology to ally Iran. The EU said it planned to join the US in retaining sanctions on Iran's ballistic missile program after the UN sanctions expire. But the UN sanctions are expiring, at least part of them. They'll be fully expired in 2 years as part of the Iran deal that was made. And so they'll now be able to arm themselves to a much, much greater degree with help of Russia and China. And Putin gave a speech yesterday. As you know, we've sent at least 2 aircraft carrier groups to the Mediterranean to reinforce our genocidal allies in their mass murder campaign. Putin made a very oblique threat about this. Let's go down to clip number 21. Here's Putin speaking yesterday about the U.S. aircraft carriers that are now in striking distance of Russia. Let's watch. He says they just moved 2 aviation strike groups into the Mediterranean Sea. I want to say, this is not a threat. What I'm going to say now, and what I will inform you about, but on my behalf, the Russian Russian Space Forces are starting on an ongoing basis patrols in the neutral zone of the airspace in the Black Sea. And our planes with MiG-31 armed with Kinzhal missiles are known to have a range of over 1,000 kilometers at Mach 9 speed. And here you see a map from the Black Sea to where our aircraft carrier group is in the Middle East, thanks to Lord Bebo on Twitter at My Lord Bebo, I believe it's called. He's been a very good source for a lot of the stuff that we've been bringing you today. So, translation, that was Putin saying America's aircraft carriers are within range of our Mach 9 missiles that are now being put on continuous alert for action. So that's a threat. That's World War III. That's thousands of American servicemen dead in the water if Russia chooses so. So we've been describing the fault lines being drawn for the inevitable Third World War. And just before we go out to your phone calls, we'll finish up with the World War III stuff here. Clip number 6 is a very interesting thought about why our leaders might be so desperate to instigate World War III. Let's listen to clip number 6.
The entire global financial system is about to collapse.
Yeah.
And nothing can stop that. You could make me king of every country, give me unlimited authority, and you could give me a team of the baddest, smartest people ever, and there's nothing they could do to stop that at this point. There's a $100 trillion financial weapon of mass destruction. So something like 10,000 times the size of the housing crash before in 2008 is what is coming down the tracks at us, right? We're lucky that it hasn't happened yet, but that's imminent. So we're at a situation very reminiscent to World War I and the outbreak of that, right? The British Empire, the sterling pound was the world reserve currency. And they had just overextended themselves so much and got so deep into debt that the sterling pound was about to collapse. And so in addition to wanting to grab this land in the Middle East, it was also like a necessity of all right, we're going to blow up the world and we will just go loot the treasuries of whoever we get and we will recoup that way and we'll keep this going for a little bit longer. But then they realized they kept it going for another 30 years and then they realized, okay, we're doing World War II now, and now we're handing the ball off to the United States so they can spend themselves into oblivion. Now the dollar can come in here and be the reserve currency. But essentially the United States is at that British Empire point. Our currency is at the end of its line. We're about to be unseated as the world reserve currency. And so we have these retarded leaders looking at history and being like, okay, well, that worked for the British Empire before, so tell you what, we're just going to pop off this world war and we'll just recoup it by looting the people on the back end. Yeah, so essentially a lot of people in our country, right, they have this dinosaur 1980s brain of we could just sail aircraft carriers right next to China and they can't do shit to us. As we discussed in that thing, the board is completely shifted. The board is different. Almost nobody in the world besides the very western part of Europe would be on our side. So our leaders are going into this and they are fatally miscalculating.
Wait, let me pause. He said, man, what did he just say? Because he was speaking of U.S. saying that there's probably no one that'll be with us besides the western part of Europe, which is basically western part of Asia, all right? West Asia, East Asia, all the way to Japan, China, whatever. Southern Asia, all the way down to, anyways. But the point being, he's talking about just a small portion of, countries that are under pretty much, I guess you could say NATO, all right? Because the majority of the countries, back east, you're dealing with Putin, China, South Africa. You're dealing with the Arabics, right? Who are kind of spread out, but they've recently come together, okay, to talk about the Israelis, okay, because regardless of who it is that they're attacking specifically, these people are still men and women of their own kind, you see? And so America is the most major ally to the Israelis right now. So like the guy said earlier, which his comment made sense, but that just goes to show you that he doesn't understand what's truly going on in this earth, all right? Because he said that, why don't we just stop backing up the whatever he called, I forget his name right now, the leader though, but the Israelis, why don't we stop sending troops over there to back them up? Yeah, that sounds great. It sounds nice. So that American soldiers are stop dying and whatever because you're supporting the Israelis with their craziness right now. Yeah, that sounds good in words, But it goes to show you, though people like this can bring out good, information, or even good sources of information, they don't understand what's going on the spiritual side. They don't understand what the will of the Lord is. They don't understand prophecy. They can't see what's truly going on this earth. There's a reason why America's constantly backing the Israelis. There's a reason why things are going the way that they're going. There's a reason why they're not going to stop sending American troops here, and there. There's a reason why, and because of that, there's a reason why American troops are spread thin now. And every time you look on every side, America is somewhere, all right? There's somewhere, in attack range of a foreign nation's troops. All right. So when things just fully escalate, America's going to be fighting a lot of battlefronts. Okay, they're going to be on a lot of battlefronts because they're everywhere. That's how they've been for years. But that same American way, that same bully, is not the same bully anymore. All right, the bully has now lost weight. He done lost muscles and stuff. Right before, he can just go around doing whatever. He's embassy there, embassy here. All right, Garrison's everywhere. He's everywhere in everybody's business. All right, controlling narratives everywhere. All right, being a bully to everybody. That's changed now. That's in the scriptures. Have thou become as weak as we? All right. The Lord says he's going to bring these people down, and he's slowly doing that. And while he's doing that, he's about to snap out World War III. But America is everywhere, still in everybody's business, everywhere, because they have allies. They have to support their allies. Okay. But they're not as strong as they used to be. So let's continue and finish the rest of this video off.
Really compelling argument, I think. Really adds another layer of intrigue, reason why this third world war would be desirous to the people in charge, and why it's incumbent on us to oppose it with everything that we've got, and really let the American government know, if you want war, I ain't about to die for Israel. I ain't about to fight China, the people you just spent the last 3 decades selling us out to. I'll fight.
Get some heat in here.
It'll just be on my own terms. This is an information war, and if they think they can get away with it, they will. If they think they'll be exposed, if they think the lie will come back on them. Now, I don't know. We're seeing how ridiculous their lies are, so maybe I'm giving them too much credit. But I think they will. I mean, they have to take this into account. They have to take humanity into account. They cannot just override all of humanity. It's a battlefield of the mind, and they know that if they push too far, too hard, too fast, they'll pay the price for it. And that's why it's so important that we cover all of this with the intensity it deserves. Finally, we have this. In the last 4 weeks, this according to Phoenix Ammunition, UTM stopped selling to civilians. Lake City Ammunition stopped selling to civilians. There was an explosion at the Hornady plant. CCI, Spear, Remington, and Federal got sold to a foreign corporation. He says, no, I'm not offering an opinion on any of these facts, just offering them up in list form. What he's saying is that the American people are going to find it very, very difficult to arm themselves and find.
Damn, I waited. I was going to wait. I wanted to see if he was going to say it, and that's exactly what's happening, because they know, especially the average Edomite, they love their trucks and their guns. All right, I'm an American, and they love their guns. All right, so if you can't necessarily take away their guns, why do we just limit their access, limit their ammunition? Because eventually they'll run out, and then what? And then we got drones and stuff. They have to offer up their bodies to fight against us, but we can just offer up drones, robots, and dogs and things of that nature. You see? And remember, when Biden first came into office, the first thing he did was talk about gun activity. And then he attacked the gun that it had nothing to do with, which just so happened to be the assault rifle. You see? They've been trying to attack American guns for so long. All right, because they want to pull that away from the people, because that's a form of defense. Okay, you may not be militarized or have the because some of these people even have body armors. You can buy body armor right now. You can buy the vest, and then you go back and buy the plates, body armor. You see? Then they have weapons that have been, legal on high scales, right? You can go and buy a 50 caliber or whatever, or sniper rifle type of gun, all right? Right out of a pawn shop, okay? If you clear through the federal system, And so if we can't necessarily take their guns away, what we can do is strip the ammunition. All right, and a couple years back there was I believe it was the feds or somebody, they were buying up a lot of the ammunition. Why was that? Because the Americans were going out with their guns. There was a surge in guns. All right, I believe this was kind of after the pandemic. There was a surge in gun purchases. And then eventually there was a surge in ammunition purchases. So to the point where ammunition was scarce. And so the federal government swooped in, all right, and started buying up. FBI was somebody who started buying up a lot of ammunition. And then so you would go into, like a gun store or whatever, or any whatever, store, and you would see that the ammunition was scarce. And then when they kind of got stock in, what you would see is that there were a limit on the amount that you could purchase. So you couldn't just go and buy 30 boxes of all this ammunition, just clear the shelf off, all right? Like a lot of these crackers would do, all right? No, now you're limited to 5 boxes or whatever, all right? And even that will piss people off. But they will come back as often as they could and buy and buy and buy. All right, so, I mean, that's all we have to say on that. That's a very good little sit down right there. A lot of information there. I don't know if we're going to have to pull this in 2 sessions because we've only been through 2 articles, all right? So it says Putin denies Biden's claim that Russia plans to attack NATO, calls it complete nonsense. All right, let's move on to another article. All right, so here's another article I found interesting, especially since the recent talks about Trump being barred from some of the ballots or whatever it was, all right? But here you have this. It says Trump to launch biggest deportation effort in U.S. history if elected, which also lines up with the article we read, I believe it was the other day or whenever it was. Can't keep up with the what's his name, Abbott, all right, of Texas, all right, which I'm going to leave a link to a video, Brighteon, if Lord willing, I remember, all right, talking more about that, supposedly from a whistleblower. Okay, as part, so supposedly, because you have to take, information with a grain of salt, but supposedly the reason why Abbott is trying to move them, which they're moving them to things like New York, Chicago, and different places like that, and getting them those migrants out of Texas and moving them to other places. All right, so Lord willing, I remember, and I'm able to. I'll leave that link in the description box so you can pull that video up. It's only like 55 minutes, to an hour long, from Brighteon. So it says former President Donald Trump was vowed to launch and oversee the biggest deportation of illegals in U.S. history if he gets elected for his second. For his second term in 2024. He made this remark during a December 17 campaign rally in Reno, Nevada. Trump, the front runner among the other Republican presidential candidates for the party's nomination, also denounced the immigration policies of incumbent President Joe Biden. The real estate mogul turned chief executive minced no words, calling Biden a low IQ individual and the most incompetent and most corrupt president. Trump added that his successor's lax immigration policies have created a scenario where large-scale action is required to counteract the issue. Given the unprecedented millions of Biden illegal aliens who are invading our country, it is only common sense that when I'm reelected, we will begin. And we have no choice. The largest deportation operation in American history, he told the crowd in Reno. Trump added that on his first day in the White House, he would terminate every open borders policy of the Biden administration. He also promised to invoke the Alien Enemies Act. All right, he says Trump added that on his first day in the White House, he would terminate every open borders policy of the Biden administration. Basically close the borders is what he's talking about. The same old song he's been singing. And that might have been part of the reason they moved him out of the way. All right, because the elites needed to allow all these immigrations into America, and they used Biden to do that. All right. And now what with Trump, right? If he becomes president again, now he's talking about closing the border. And I believe if he becomes president and he talks about closing the border, me just speaking as a man, I believe he's actually going to close those borders off this time. All right. So it says Trump, terminate every open borders policy of the Biden administration. He also promised to invoke the Alien Enemies Act, arguing that doing so will lead to the removal of all known or suspected gang members, drug dealers, or cartel members from the United States. But where are they going to go? Obviously back home. All right? Possibly, because they could remove them elsewhere and never get seen, which is far-fetched. But Nothing would surprise me in this world. It says Trump's remark follows statements he delivered the previous day at a rally in New Hampshire. The former president lamented the illegal immigrants from Africa, from Asia, and all over the world were poisoning the blood of the country. You see how they talk about? And the majority of these people that have come over here from all these different places, all over the world, the majority of these people are Israelites. It says Biden's campaign team quickly pounced on the remarks, denouncing Trump's rhetoric as similar to that of Adolf Hitler in Little Mustache, that is, in his book Mein Kampf, or My Struggle. The Little Mustache, I'm not going to say it, you see it, all right? The 4-letter word, start with the N. Right, the Little Mustache leader referred to superior cultures of the past perishing and dying out due to what he called blood poisoning. All right, Trump channeled his role models as he parodied Adolf Hitler. The Biden campaign said it added that GOP frontrunner is not shying away from his plan to lock millions of people into detention camps. Yeah, you're locking them in America by shutting down the borders. And then you're going to lock them. And he said this, right? Bring back public executions, guillotines, and all these things. And America most definitely, which has nothing to do with him, but they most definitely have these FEMA camps, these concentration camps. All right. So anything is possible, man. It's whatever, on the left-hand side of the Lord through these wicked elites, however the Lord wants to play things out. Let's see. Let's jump down and get this video. Ooh, 30 minutes. We're going to have to skip through it. It says Trump outlining his agenda for 2024 presidential run. All right. Oh, I never played it. All right. So there we go. Let's jump in here.
In January, that also briefly turned violent. Demonstrators set a police car on fire and smashed windows of the buildings.
The demonstrators said they were protesting the killing of an activist by police. The man died during a police raid to clear the construction site. The police say they were fired upon first. One policeman was shot during that incident. An overturned tanker truck exploded in Maryland over the weekend. Authorities say the fiery crash on Saturday killed the driver and burned vehicles and homes. The truck crashed on U.S. Highway 15 in Frederick, about an hour's drive west of Baltimore. A Maryland state highway official said the roadway was shut down in both directions after the crash. The vehicle was a gas tanker. It overturned, hit a tree, and then exploded. Maryland State Police tweeted that the cause of the crash is under investigation. County police said 1 home and 3 vehicles were damaged extensively, and 5 other homes and 2 vehicles received minor damage. No one else was hurt. The fire was contained in around 40 minutes.
Ohio just can't catch a break. Yet another Norfolk Southern train derailed there on Saturday. Those living near the accident site were ordered to shelter in place. The derailment happened near Springfield. The company says the train was not carrying hazardous materials and that no one was hurt. First responders on the scene were working to confirm that no toxins were involved. The accident follows a February 3rd derailment in East Palestine. That accident sent millions of pounds of toxic chemicals into the environment and forced thousands of people to evacuate. Norfolk Southern says Saturday's derailment involved about 20 cars of an over 200-car train. Officials haven't given a cause for the accident. U.S. Senator Sherrod Brown says there have been 4 derailments in Ohio in the past 5 months.
Ohio Governor Mike DeWine said President Biden and U.S. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg called him to offer any assistance needed with the latest accident. And some air travelers had a scare over the weekend. A Southwest Airlines flight had to turn around for an emergency landing yesterday morning. That was due to an apparent bird strike. The plane was headed to Fort Lauderdale from Havana. Passenger Ray Becker says he heard some sort of explosion minutes into the flight. The video he took shortly afterward shows black smoke in the cabin as an alarm blares in the background. A flight attendant can be heard in the video telling the passengers in Spanish to cover their noses and faces and to remain seated. Southwest says the pilots landed the plane safely and passengers exited by slides. The carrier is assisting the passengers with their lodging.
Former President Trump outlined his agenda for his 2024 presidential run at CPAC over the weekend. The Republican candidate says he wants to finish what he started, and that it's not enough to just stop the forces tearing America down. It's time to build America up again. And today's Jeremy Sandberg has some of the highlights from Trump's CPAC speech.
Former President Trump predicted the U.S. is on a dangerous trajectory in his speech on Saturday, unless something changes soon.
I am your warrior. I am your justice. And for those who have been wronged and betrayed, I am your retribution. I am your retribution. Not going to let this happen.
He says sinister forces have done everything they can to stop him, silence Americans, and turn the nation into a socialist dumping ground for criminals and radicals, and that the country is headed towards becoming a filthy communist nightmare. He likened it to a final battle.
Either they win or we win. And if they win, we no longer have a country.
Trump touted his former policies and contrasted them with the current administration. He says if back in the White House, he will revoke President Biden's executive order installing Marxist diversity, equity, and inclusion czars in federal agencies, urge Congress to create a restitution fund for Americans discriminated against by Biden's policies, and ban all racial discrimination by the government. Trump is referring to Biden's recent executive order to advance so-called racial equity and support for unserved communities. Trump says if elected, he will totally obliterate the deep state and fire unelected bureaucrats and shadow forces weaponizing the justice system.
They're not coming after me, they're coming after you, and I'm just standing in their way. That's all I'm doing.
He spoke about peace through strength, pointing out no new wars started during his presidency, reiterating his belief that Russia's invasion of Ukraine wouldn't have taken place if he was still in office, adding his personality type is one that can prevent World War III from breaking out. Trump said he plans to target gangs and drug cartels and increase border patrol and deportation agents if he wins in 2024, and swore to stand strong despite repeated investigations, vowing to stay in the presidential race even if criminally indicted.
Every time the polls go up higher and higher, the prosecutors get crazier and crazier. We gotta stop these guys.
Trump concluded by promising to complete the vision to make America great again. Jeremy Sandberg, NTD News.
All right, we stop right there. And there you have it. The basic of every presidential candidate. This is what I'm going to do if I get into office, and then I do everything else but what I said I was going to do. Or even if they try it, they never, it's not up to them, man. Let me see here. Yeah, we'll probably have to drop a second session. So we just ended with these 3 articles here. So it says Trump to launch biggest deportation effort in U.S. history if elected. And one thing he said before we close this off, he says it's either they win or we win or something like that, and we lose. We no longer have a country. Well, that's going to happen anyways because thus said Yahweh Shah. All right, it's prophesied that Babylon would be a burning smoke, a fire or whatever. He's going to set this place ablaze. All right. So eventually, doesn't matter if it happens right now or it happens at another point or whatever the case may be, it's going to happen. All right. And that's in the near future. That is, I don't mean like some 15, 20 years later. That's in the near future where America's going to get wiped off this map. All right. Thus saith the Lord. So we'll end it at that. Lord willing, we edify today. So I'm Yashwala. I'm going to say Shalom. Lord willing, we'll be able with a session 2. All right. Shalom.